Hey everyone, welcome to Monday Night Team Call. And we are very, very blessed to have a guest speaker on tonight. Lori, I said your name, I just realized before. Lori Bradford is with us here tonight, and she is everyone's upline here. So if you guys don't know, or if you're new in terms of how the tree goes, above me is Tiffany, and then Fallon, and then Lori. So Lori is our grandma of grandmas here. I get called grandma a lot, Lori. um, so she is here, and when I think of Lori, well, Lori, you've been here. I was trying to think how long you've been with Plexus. Are you going on like 9 years?
No, it'll be 8 years in August.
8 years. Okay. So 8 years. She's a Diamond Sapphire, and she went Diamond in 11 months when she got started. She's a wife, mom, grandma. And when I think of Lori, when I think of you, Lori, I think of someone who is very wise and discerning. You've overcome things. You have the biggest belief of anyone I know and vision. And that I know I don't talk about this a lot. I know you guys have heard like my story in terms of when I started, and Tiffany and Fallon shared, on the phone, just massive belief. Like I knew they were going to the top just because of how they spoke, right? Like they were just silver and senior gold, I think, at the time. They didn't have to be a diamond to speak with that kind of belief and vision, and I believed them. And so you've probably heard me speak on that before. And that is really what pulled me into having belief and vision in myself, because they believed in me as well. But behind that belief and vision was Lori. Fallon got that from Lori. And so I'm excited to have Lori on here tonight and to really just kind of dig deep into kind of your story and more on that belief. And I'm going to kind of let you take it away for a bit.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. And I want to say that I have just as much belief right now, probably more. Actually, I don't even know more. I've got a massive paycheck every month. I don't know what your goals are, but your goals should be sky high, you guys, because the sky is really the limit. It's crazy. I get this paycheck, and every month it's not anything that I ever take for granted, but it's something that, like Jamie said, when I first started with Plexus, I love the products. I had really great results with the products, but I love that you bring up that they had so much belief at silver and even senior gold, because I think that is key to my success. I know that was key to my success, and I believe that that's key to your success, is that belief and that vision. Currently, we are only in 0.5% of the 4 countries that we're open in. I love what Plexus does in that they open a country and they don't just go and open another country without establishing that one country really well. This has been a fast-moving train where I've had to adjust and adjust and adjust so many times. We've never really caught up with ourselves over 8 years. There are so many people on my team making 6 figures or more, 7 figures, double. Like I make a very good living, and there are people in my downline that make 2 or 3 times as much money as I make. So it's amazing, you guys, and we're still in only 0.5% of the households. Even the city that I live in California, is not a very big community. It's pretty small for a California community. And I will say the gym that I go to every day as a diamond, less than 5% of the people are probably on the products that would help them so much, right? So we haven't even begun to scratch the surface. And I will tell you that the reason I got to Diamond in 11 months is because I thought I was on the fastest race that I needed to be on in my whole life, because I really understood what we had, and I still understand what we have. Like, if you think about it, and as I start talking about it, I have so much vision for everyone. And I thought everybody else would see the same thing, and there would be, 10 or 20 diamonds in my little community by now. But I want to tell you guys the key, I don't know what happens to people along the way in their life. And if you're a parent on this call, I think this is really, really important that your kids end up with belief and the ability to catch a vision, and that they don't end up with the stories that you're here. So you want this business and you see this potential. And you probably see the potential for so many people that you've signed up or people in your downline, but you can't get them to see it for themselves, right? And that's because they're telling themselves some sort of story along the way that, you know, this isn't for me, I can't do this, this isn't attainable, this is like a pipe dream. It's not a pipe dream. I knew it wasn't a pipe dream because I knew how good the products were. I knew that we are addressing blood sugar, gut health, and inflammation. And when you address those three things, it isn't surprising to me at all, like the results that you will see and the stories that you will hear. And so in our product line is affordable. So my product story is I was on over $700 a month from a holistic practitioner of products, and I wasn't getting the results, even though our household was spending that money, that I did with even just the Slim. So that is why we have an amazing business. That is why the income potential is so incredibly high. And so I hope you guys see that. And obviously I wasn't on this race because it is a little bit tricky sometimes to get a person to have that belief. And it's crazy. And I don't know, why God set it up that way, but it's true in every aspect of your life. Everything that you want to attain is going to be consistency, your work ethic, your ability to overcome the personal growth aspect. Like, I was a homeschool stay-at-home mom for 25 years. I cried when my daughter had her first child because I did not know how to post a picture of the baby on Facebook without her help, and she was sleeping from having had the baby. So I did not grow my business on social media, and I really barely knew how to even handle my email or anything like that. And doing a Zoom, even probably 4 years ago, maybe 5, was really terrifying for me, like a call like this. And so somebody overcoming their personal growth issues, having that belief, being consistent, and the work ethic goes along with the consistency. That's, unfortunately, a rare person. So that's why there's not 20 diamonds in here. But if that's you, or that's something in my town, but if that's you, or that's something that you're willing to do, then your goals are attainable.
I love that. That's the point. I mean, and that's where people get hung up so much, right? With you want it for everybody, but you can't want it more than they want it at the end of the day. And that you worded that perfectly. You have to have that combination and someone that's willing to do that in order to continue to go,
And they can grow in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's Amber's story.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have it. And
mm-hmm.
yeah. And as a mom, she told me that that's because I told her everything she started, she never finished. I go back to that parenting card, her personal growth issue is she had to overcome, things that I had inadvertently said to her. Mm-hmm. And so, but look at her now. It
comes back to mindset with everything, right? When it's hung up with something like that. So to have that come out is huge for her growth.
And it was just musical instruments. She was popping from guitar for a little while, then piano, then drums. And I just wanted her to stick with one instrument. Mm-hmm. But, that's how things get in a person's head.
Mm-hmm. You said that you were just running the race as fast as you can go, right? At the beginning. Can you talk more about why you were running so fast? What was fueling that? Why was that such a big deal? And how you worked differently because you were treating it that way, versus basic work and just, la-di-da. How did that look different because of that? So what fueled that and what did that look like?
Okay, so we had my husband that I'm no longer married to right now, he had a lot of health issues. He was a type 1 diabetic, and he was telling me that he was not going to be able to work anymore. And his work just wasn't something he wanted to do anymore. And so I had been praying for a solution financially, and I was praying for a solution for him, thinking that it wasn't going to be me that was going to do that. And so, but I was afraid. I didn't know what would happen if our income just, dropped off entirely. And things were not very financially stable, even though they appeared like they were on the outside, they were not. And so when this opportunity came along, like I said before, I thought everyone was going to jump on it. And it was going to be like every household in Atascadero where I live was going to be overflowing with Plexus like in no time, and all across the country, because the products were so good and so affordable. And so that's why I thought I was in a race, and I thought, we have to hurry up because this is like the best opportunity in the world. And I heard along the lines that Helen and Sonia had said that income producing activity was at least 5 reach outs, 3 follow-ups, 1 personal growth, like where you're learning something, and 1 social media post of some sort. And so I took that as like my work that I needed to learn how to do. And I did those reach outs like every day consistently. And the other thing that I did is I kept records of what I was doing. And the reason I kept a daily record is because if I wasn't getting the results that I wanted to get, which I got to Emerald in 6 months and Diamond in 11 months, so obviously I did, but if I wasn't, the reason I kept very good records is because I wanted to be coachable. I wanted to be able to go, if I wasn't getting the results, go and get help and say, what am I doing wrong? Can you please examine this? Because if this isn't working, I know that this isn't Plexus or this opportunity. I know that it's something I'm not connecting with. And so I was extremely coachable in that way and kept super good records of my daily activity. And so somebody wanted me to repeat what that was. It was 5 reach outs, 3 follow-ups, 1 personal growth learning type of thing, either watching a YouTube or reading a chapter of a book, something with personal growth and development, and 1 social media post of some sort. So it could be personal, didn't have to be Plexus, but it was just social media post. And so that was what I did and what I aspired to do. The social media thing I did not do at first, I got to tell you guys. But eventually I did, and that was on there, and that was something that I needed to learn how to do.
What did it look like when you were passing on that vision in the beginning, or, in terms of building leaders and people who are running with you, and, what kind of things were you saying to them in terms of, or even maybe it was past, I know you had your story of when you went to see, was it Sonia?
Yeah. So I like the products. Amber got me to an opportunity event where they went over the products. They touched on the business at the end. I was slightly interested, but not like 100% interested. I hadn't made the connection that this was what I had been praying for. And I did, when I came home from that meeting, Amber asked me, like, what did you think about it? How did you like it? I told her I liked it, but I guess however I answered wasn't like enough for her, or else actually Liz, they're both diamonds. Liz is a double diamond now. Lizzie Spoon is Amber's upline. She was her bridesmaid in her wedding. I've known Lizzie since she was 15. Her and her husband are diamonds, and they're the ones that signed Amber up. And Liz told her to get me to go to Sonia's training. And then I forgot that I was supposed to go to that training and that I had said yes. And so I went grocery shopping in Nashville, and Amber started calling me saying, Mom, you're supposed to be at this meeting. And I'm like, I have a car full of groceries. I can't go. Yeah. And I don't have a brush because I had the window down and I had the so she said, if I meet you there and I take your groceries home and put them away and I bring you a brush, will you go? And I was like, there's only 15 minutes left of this thing. And the reason I'm telling you guys this story is because events are so important. Getting people to a Zoom call is critical. If she would not have done everything that she did to get this vision in front of me, I might not be here right now. And I could just be drinking this and not even know what was on the other side of it. And I needed it. Like, you guys don't even know the half of it. And so she got me to the last 15 minutes of Sonia's meeting. And the thing that connected for me is her mom, Sonia's mom, was there, and several other people, and they were asking questions. She had already done her training and her business stuff, and they were asking questions. And Sonia's answers made a lot of sense to me, because they were answers like, you have to follow up on the person. They'd say like, oh, this person said this and this. And then Sonia would say, well, this is what you say. And I was like, oh, this all makes sense to me. Like, I totally see why she's answering that way. And then I pulled Sonia aside at the end of the meeting and I asked her how much money she was making. And at that time, which she makes a lot more now, she told me she was making $20,000 a month. And I was like, okay, I think you have my attention. Like, I already like these products. Like, you just connected to me to something that I think is the solution to what I had been praying for.
Mm-hmm. And that's huge. So you guys, how many times, we have this come up quite a bit, how many product users do we have that stay product users because maybe we don't connect on something or don't cast that vision, inviting them to an event, getting on a 3-way call with your upline. You can get product users on 3-way calls with your upline. It doesn't just have to be if they're interested in the business. The power of connecting with people and casting that vision, they can decide whether to take it or leave it. But if you don't at least present it, at least talk about it, you could have a Lori Welsh sitting here who's still drinking her pink drink and not doing what she's capable of doing and having that person under you. But it starts with us, right? It starts with opening our mouths and with talking about it. If you look and see and look at your organization, if you're bringing in product users, but you're not developing silver, so you don't have people running with you, what can you change in terms of your vision, in your belief, in your mindset to speak to people in a way that's going to cast that or offer those opportunities to people? I think we come up with that sometimes,
Yeah, and I think sometimes we sell people short because we give them a small vision, like, oh, you could get your products paid for, or you could earn a little income on the side. Some people need to hear. I was busy. So at that time, I was homeschooling my kids. I was doing everything by hand. Like, we talked about goats, like I was doing goat cheese and goat everything, and I was also tutoring a class. And that class took a lot of prep time for me. And I felt like my plate was full and I was very busy. So I would not have tried to go silver. I would not have tried to get my products paid for. I did not. I needed this to be the answer to the prayer that I had and the needs that I had in really big ways. Mm-hmm. And so I think that you never know who that person is going to be, because like you guys see me right now, that was not me back then. I didn't have a social media presence. I didn't have a lot of things that you would think a person would need necessarily to be successful in this business. But what I did have is an experience way back when, before I became a stay-at-home mom, where I was successful, not in network marketing, but in a different type of business. And then I had consistency in people's lives. So the reason I was able to recruit is because people knew me. Like, they knew I was consistent. I showed up. So I might have not looked bright and shiny, but there was a lot underneath the surface.
Mm-hmm. I can relate to that. I was more quiet at the beginning. I would, if I knew you, I love people, but if you put me in a room, people I don't know, like I'd be the one sitting there by myself, not talking to anyone because it would make me so uncomfortable and I'd be self-conscious. And I had friends who had kind of got their attention at the beginning because they're like, why are you doing this? Like, this is not something you would normally do. Like, this isn't you, you know? So I say that like people wouldn't have bet on me that I would have went to Diamond. So how many people like not prejudging, like you're pointing out, of what someone is capable of, and you can't figure that out if we don't have a conversation and talk and connect with people and cast that vision and ask more about questions about themselves and what their pain points are, what they need. And hearing you speak, talking big first, not leading with getting them to silver and then trying to move from that. Sometimes people can get them to silver, maybe get them to an event, but then you can't get them to do anything else beyond that. What if we started with the big vision from the beginning, like not starting with silver, not starting with getting products paid for, but starting with the massive vision of what is possible for them, right? Like you're saying right there, you can always back down to helping a few friends or family, but we want to pull the best out of people and offer the best of what Plexus has to offer. And the best of what Plexus has to offer is not just silver. We all know that, right? So it's the bigger thing in terms of that.
Yeah, and events do a great job of that. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not quite sure what to say to somebody, you can just get them to an event.
Mm-hmm. In convention and any gatherings, I know we haven't been in person in a while with corporate, but we're doing some extra gatherings. We're getting together for convention. Anything that you can do or do locally, get together locally with people if you can, connect with people. It makes a difference. And it's not it's if it's something that you're worried about cost or you have excuses or this or that, you can't afford not to go for your business. So what can you do to save up or to make the sacrifices or do things to put the time and equity into this business? Because you're not just working this on the side, right? I'm assuming we're working this for big goals. We're working this for Diamond. So that takes doing the big things for that. I remember going to see Sonia after, it was right after we got back from like Leaders Retreat or something. And Tiffin Fowle said that, that she was speaking in Tennessee. I think, Sue, you went with me. And I don't know if it's Tennessee or not, but anyway. And I remember thinking, oh, I just got back from a trip. I had just started sharing. It was kind of a big deal to even go on a trip. Oh, I just got back. I don't know if I can go. My husband, like, I have to watch the kids. It was no excuses. If you want to do this business, you get your butt there and go. And I figured out a way to get my butt there and go. And it makes a difference. Like, you're connecting, you're learning. It's all those things trickle on. Did you have anything to say with that?
No, I agree.
Okay.
I think if your goal is jewel status or a high income, like what you would be getting as a jewel, if you think about it, any other profession that you would be trying to earn that type of income, there would be things that you want to attend that you need to attend. Mm-hmm. And so when you start treating this business the same way, that's when it becomes not hobby money anymore. And I'm telling you, where I am standing right now, income-wise, where my daughter is standing right now, if that had taken me 10 years or 15 years or 20 years to get to, there is nothing else that I know how to do that I ever could be at this income level. And so it's worth it. Like, what you're doing is worth it.
Mm-hmm. So if you're working for a few months or a couple years and you're not where you want to be, that means that's okay. It's worth it to get to it, putting the time in and looking at, what that is going to be. I know, I love hearing you speak on those things because you are in such a spot that everyone is capable of doing that and getting there if you put your time into it, all those things, those pieces that come together, you're hungry for it. Like you said, you're keeping daily records. You were running that race. I know we were talking earlier after the other quick call we did. you had, you know, it's almost like you had your blinders on. You're just running your race. You didn't know what was going on over there, or what couldn't happen, or what you weren't worrying about what could possibly change. You had your blinders on and you were just running because, and that's being hungry, and that's the excitement is contagious, and that belief is contagious, and your vision is contagious. That's what it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. At the end of the day, everything else is a skill set you can learn, but that is needed to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
So does anybody else have any other questions for Lori before we close tonight? If you guys have anything that you wanted to pop in the chat, we can probably have a few minutes here with you. Do you think there's anything else I wanted to make sure I covered? Lori, you have, I'll see if anybody says anything. You have such a great way of, with the products, with just your vision in the products in terms of what this has done, being at corporate, being with the executives, your role in things. Just speak a little bit more on why everyone should have like rock solid belief in not only these products, but where this company is going, because we'll end on that because I love it.
Yeah, so I'm on one of the focus groups, and it's the product development focus group, and so we're like sworn to secrecy like crazy, but but I can tell you guys that, you know, corporate really works with us, and we get a lot of involvement, a lot of voice, a lot of like vetting, and we have some really good things coming up. Always. As though our products were not good enough, what we already have. But what I love about Plexus is that they're very forward thinking. They're very ahead. Like, we're never going to be stagnant in what we have. So that is just, to me, like, I sit there, and the trips we get to go on, I'm sure there's, you know, several jewels on here. When we go on those, I'm always like, wow, this is crazy. It's never anything I take for granted. And the product development and the level of expertise that we have there is not something I take for granted either. The fact that they're always looking so much towards the future and never just resting with what we have right now. But with high quality and high standards and things that fit the needs of what people have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not something like this is what we have and we're staying here, or this is our growth and we're staying here, or things are saturated and we're staying here. You pointed that out earlier. Like, we're going places, and the integrity is so high and the vision is so high. The reason why there's so much vision and belief in this amongst the ambassadors, I mean, Tarl and Alec are leading the way with that too. I mean, they're leading with massive vision and belief with this company and where we're going. So just, yeah, absolutely love that. Thank you, Lori. Thank you for being on here tonight and just pouring into us all and sharing your wisdom and your story. We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. You guys have an amazing team, just so you know. Just like one of the best teams in Plexus. So you are in super good hands.
Thank you. We love you. Grateful for you.
Thank you. Love you.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.